What's up, chat? How's it going, everybody? It's Monday. Get ready to indulge in a little bit of mayhem. What's up? We're a bit late today for this stream. I had a bunch going on this morning. Unfortunately, didn't get ready in time for the normal 2 p.m. stream, so we're at 3 p.m. today, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah. So. Welcome in, everyone. Black Zombie, nice to see you. Ryan, how's it going? So I figured today what we could do. So I talked about this in the video, in my Best Armies 40K video this morning, which, by the way, I'm pretty happy with that video. I don't know why that one in particular felt like it came out really good, but I ended up doing a bunch of extra work on it. I think it was because it was a lower number of events, so I got to put more time into each of them. Part of the problem of, I guess it's kind of a good problem to have, I guess, but part of the problem with the community, like, just exponentially increasing so quickly is that we just have more and more events to cover each week, and so that's one of the reasons that I had to stop doing, like, individually typed out lists and all this graphics and stuff, because, unfortunately, when I'm covering, like, 20 lists, it was too much to do. I couldn't do it. But being able to getting a little bit of a shorter video, so we had fewer events to talk about. One of the reasons for that being that most of the scene this weekend was doing team stuff. The benefit there is that I could spend a little bit more time. So I actually did a bunch of new data sheets. I updated a bunch of data sheets to their current wording. So we got to talk about a lot of individual mechanics, cool new lists, Berzerker Warband, doing some stuff, getting some stuff done, new Death Guard stuff. So I'm excited for what the future's going to bring. I have no idea what we're going to do next week because I have a suspicion that no one will give a shit about lists from this weekend. So I don't know. We'll see. But one of the interesting things about this weekend is that a ton of the events were team events this week. So we saw an Alpine Cup 5-man teams. We saw a Bug Eater 5-man teams. We saw Manchester Team Super Major. It was also a 5-man team. I believe there was another one. If I remember, War of the Roses was another team event. So randomly, although none of them were like huge, they were relatively large, like major size, 100-ish players. None of them were these enormous events, but we got a lot of like these smaller kind of team events to talk about. And I think there's a little bit of, there's some gems to glean inside these events. So that's what I want to cover today. A lot of Ryans in chat. Yeah, that's true. That's for sure. So I wanted to start by talking about the, I'm going to butcher this one, the Casale Casale 40K teams. This is in Italy. Was won by Altrementis Arabiamo. I think that's right. Hopefully that's correct. Who is a pretty prolific Italian team. They actually do a lot of. They win a lot of the Italian events. But they had some really non-standard chaos lists in their lineup, which I think is pretty interesting to discuss. Because we saw some stuff like World Eaters, and we saw non-coterie Emperor's Children, which I actually kind of like as a team format thing because it opens you up for a wider variety of potential matchups. So let's dive in. There's some normal stuff. It's like there's Ultramarines. I believe they have a Knight player. Death Guard with Virulent Victorium, whatever. Chaos Knights, like, okay. But we do want to talk about this World Eater stuff. Ryan G, thank you for the super chat.
Ryan G donated $5 through super chat. I for one am pleased the GW has learned War Dogs are the way. 7 War Dogs in a Battle Force box. I admire its purity.
So you just buy 2 of those, you have a whole army? Easy. It's so funny because it's an interesting phenomenon, but this happens in every game system, is that like when you have different levels of a thing, right? Like Knights essentially have light, medium, heavy, right? And Castora's class is like medium. You can talk about like Tyrants and Dominus class and the larger stuff, Porphyrian, as heavy, and light as the Arbiters. The one of those is always the best, despite the fact that I know Games Workshop would love the platonic ideal of those units to be that, like, you know, you take like a mixture, right? Like 2 lights for every heavy or whatever. Every time any game has that kind of distinction, it immediately weights to one side or the other. There's never an intermediary. And of course, we're seeing that with Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights. Everyone you take the light stuff because the heavy stuff isn't efficient enough. But as soon as you make the heavy stuff efficient, you don't take the light stuff anymore. It just swings back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about the game design of Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights right now, and that's one of the reasons that it's really tough to balance in a way that makes sense and is fun to play with and against. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate that. Wardogs are adorable. They got little skulls. Look at that little skull. Cute little skull. What a guy. So yeah. So we want to talk about this World Eaters list. Obviously, we're still kind of in an exploratory phase, I think, with World Eaters right now. So the it's important to kind of like break down what's doing well with this faction. Now this team went undefeated. I don't know what the actual okay. Well, that's pretty dominant. Oh my god, 74-26. Jesus Christ. These guys basically killing people. They did get 0-20 into Imperial Knights. This seems like a really bad matchup. I think perennially we've seen this just generally be very bad. So it is what it is. They lost a couple games, but they still won the event. They still won the round into garage games, it looks like. Dropped a game with World Eaters, unfortunately. But so the record is pretty strong. It looks like World Eaters at 4-2 or 3-2. Where'd they go? Yeah, it looks like 3-2. I think they ran 5 rounds. This time around, let's go back to the end. Yeah, 5 rounds. So 3-2 with this list, which is respectable in a team format where sometimes you have to drop on grenades and just take really bad matchups, which you might not be sort of skewed for. But this is a Berzerker warband build. So +1 attack, +2 strength on the charge, which definitely smooths over the damage output of this faction. It kind of feels like a lot of these data sheets were built assuming that you had Berzerker warband detachment buffs, which I don't necessarily love the direction of, but the numbers that these units get to you when you start doing the math, it's like crazy. So we talked about on the video this morning, the Slaughterbound gets up to strength 11 with Berzerker Glade and strength 11 with 10 attacks. Fucking wild. He hits so hard. Chaos Knights had the whole thing. You might want to take the Psychic Knight. Well, yeah, it turns out when you build an entire thing to be psychic and then you remove the phase in which psychic powers are cast, it's going to be a difficult sell. Oh man, maybe 11th edition we'll have a good rules. I don't know. We'll see. We've got Demon Prince with Helm, so -1 damage, Kharn Betrayer in a Khorne Berserker unit. The only Khorne Berserkers that we have available. But obviously, big benefit there to have the advance and charge on these guys. It gives you a bunch of additional threat range that you wouldn't normally have otherwise in the faction. A bunch of 8-bound, triple exalted 8-bound, double Forge Fiend, Goremonger unit, Jackal's unit, and then double regular 8-bound, double Forge Friends as well. So I think I'm interested in the place of lists like this in team formats. I think part of the benefit here is that you can play the OG super aggressive game plan where you just have so much like pressure on your opponent, right? We have a dedicated transport, which can drop an advancing and charging unit of Khorne Berserkers out of it and run them across the table. We have double Slaughterbound plus 5 units of 8-bound running across the table, and then good infantry sweeping from the Forge Fiends as well. So the pressure is there, and if you're in something that can't deal with this kind of MSU style, I do think it just bolts it over, which will, I think, certainly assist in a team process. Now, we'll talk later about how well we see players like Jack Harpster doing with Khorne Demonkin, and I think that there is a belief that detachment in specific offers some really interesting plays into a team format because it's just such a weird detachment. But there is definitely something to be said for the Berzerker Warband that's much more straightforward and will just it's basically like it's not a stat check, it's like a stat answer, right? It's like, can you survive all the 8-bound hitting you all at once? And if you can't, then you GG. you're done. So that's pretty neat. I also wanted to talk about this Emperor's Children list. Simone Caroselli, who's rocking Peerless Bladesmen, chat. Not Coterie of the Conceited, not a detachment that we typically see. We see it kind of like switches a little bit between Coterie and between I would say Carnival of Excess, potentially, is what gets played there. But Peerless Bladesman is actually the detachment I started with when playing Emperor's Children. It's really super straightforward. You just get sustained or lethals when you charge. That's the thing. So its level of redundancy when compared to Coterie is certainly lowered. It doesn't necessarily have the rerolls, access to dice fixing, and this late game like bottom 5 scoring push that Coterie can get. However, it just simply does more damage. You get Distortion, who I think we have on a Lord Exalted. Yeah, so +1 attack and damage. The attacks only affect his Power Spear, but the damage also affects his Lash. So he comes in on his go turn with 9 3-damage spear attacks and 4 2-damage lash attacks that have lethal hits. So that dude's like, he's crazy strong. I've seen this guy just total Land Raiders basically by himself. As soon as he gets rerolls from an Infractor squad, he just goes insane. You can also get a +1 AP on the charge. That's a big bonus as well. So you're doing a lot more damage into high armor stuff that things like Infractors or Tormentors sometimes have trouble with. And even things like, excuse me, chat. I turned my streamer mode off on my Discord. Let me fix that so it doesn't ping. Hopefully I didn't come across. What was I saying? I don't remember. But you can punch into heavier armor stuff that Infractors and stuff would sometimes have trouble with. And even just like punching people in melee with, Noise Marines or whatever, getting +1 AP is kind of a big deal. Turns you into a chainsword, essentially. You have a bunch of reactive effects. You have a Fight on Death. You have a 6-inch consolidation, so you can use that to take objectives. And you have a counter charge when you're falling back from. So, like, there's a bunch of weird things you can do with this detachment that people aren't necessarily prepared for if they're ready to play for the Coterie of the Conceited matchup. And several of the problems with Coterie of the Conceited is that its real power comes from when you have accrued like probably 5 packed pledge points. However, if the other team during a pairing process is able to finagle you into a situation where they can give you few or no pledge points, the detachment falls apart, right? You suddenly lose the ability to trade evenly with heavy armor. You come to the late game and you're not wiping units and you're not out OCing like utility stuff on objectives, and it can really fall apart. And I think that's one of the reasons we do see that this faction tend to fall down to things like Imperial Knights. Peerless Bladesman doesn't necessarily have that problem because it's gonna be it has a consistent level of damage output. Now the downside of the detachment is that there's no reroll hits available basically anywhere, unless you can source them yourself. Sustained hits will basically help you out a little bit. That's essentially +1 to hit, but there are no rerolls baked into the detachment at all. So it can be a little inconsistent, and it's certainly worse at shooting, which Coterie of the Conceited uses really, really, really well. So, expecting a leaked Chaos Knights Codex tonight? I got nothing. I got nothing for you today, chat. I think tomorrow we're going to start to see a lot of leaks coming out. It sounds like Wednesday is the day for new data slate stuff. I would imagine that's when that happens, but sometimes we do see like Tuesday, Wednesday-ish is when we start to see sort of leaks coming out for newly revealed things. So this week's gonna be exciting. I would clear your schedule for a bunch of live streaming potentially. I don't know about this week. Please tell it has flawless blades. Let's take a peek. We're triple Infractors to go with the Lord Exaltants. Double Tormentors for utility, double Chaos Rhinos. It does have flawless blades, chat. So the flawless blades are super cool here because they're pull up their data sheet. Grab it on Wikipedia. They're anti everything, right? And so they're real and high AP. So you can push them to AP4 with your you can push them to AP4 with the stratagem for Peerless Bladesmen. They also this weapon profile is super high value. So effects like sustained hits, you don't really want to do lethals with these guys. Lethals don't really do anything. But effects like sustained hits with this like 6-3-2 anti-everything is really good with sustains. So you're swinging 9 times out of a unit of 3. You're probably averaging somewhere around 10 or 11 hits. And then you're winning on 3, so you're probably hitting your opponent like 7 or 8 saving throws. And if you're AP4, that's either punching through your armor or forcing your opponent on 6s. So 3 flawless blades with that detachment ability, with the stratagem, are able to like total tanks by themselves, essentially. Which is crazy for 110 points for these little tiny utility squads. Not utility, they're like, you know, melee counter punch, but it's really strong. We have triple Noise Marines as well. No attachments for them whatsoever. We do have Lucius in the army, so we could attach him to a flawless blade unit. Although he's probably running by himself. I think having the lone operative is more valuable, generally speaking. He doesn't do anything for them, so he only gains the benefit of the 3+ critical, which is good. It means he's incredibly good at like swinging into vehicles and stuff. He's, you know, goes up at winning on 3s against everything. AP3, 3 damage, potentially AP4 sustained hits. He can kill the universe if he's in a flawless blade unit, but you lose that separate utility piece that he brings by himself, and he becomes susceptible to shooting, which is a downside. So the delivery is problematic for them, but if you're flooding the board with Tormentors and with Infractor squads in order to try to get them up the table, it makes a lot of sense. So I think so. A big benefit. The reason I want to talk about this list is I think a big benefit of this is that, as I said before, you run into these problems with these really like low unit count armies or these defensive skews that Coterie of the Conceited can't necessarily interact with in the early game. And this detachment does not have that problem. This detachment is going to be like, brother, you put a thing in the middle before I have any of my Coterie points. It doesn't matter. I'm going to choose sustained hits. I'm going to swing a flawless blade unit with +1 AP into it, and we're probably going to kill it anyway, regardless of all that other stuff. So. I really like the pivot in this case into Peerless Bladesmen. Oh, we also have blinding speed on a Demon Prince, so he has once per game fight first, which a lot of people forget about because the Demon Prince with wings is like so annoying to kill. Oftentimes they'll commit and then barely not die, and your opponent will charge it to finish it, and you go blinding speed and you kill their unit and the crackback, and they're just like, oh no, and now he's gonna hit another utility unit, get sustained hits, get +1 AP, and then like continue to crunch through. That little guy's really obnoxious. That's the enhancement on this dude is really annoying. The Lord Exaltants don't really want it because they just die to shooting anyway, but the Demon Prince is just annoying enough to kill that usually you have to charge him to get rid of him, and the blinding speed really messes with people. So you love to see it. This is a list after my own heart. I played most of this stuff. I didn't play Lucius, and I didn't play the Flawless Blades, but I do think that they're growing on me in this detachment specifically, for sure. Feels weird having such a crucial unit and barely see any play. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's points adjustment would probably help. I'm worried that you make them too cheap and they just become like too spammable. But on the flip side, like, maybe it's fine. They're not the hardest thing in the world to kill, right? They're just like a chosen unit. They can't go to Rhino, so I don't know. If you allowed them to embark into Rhinos, then I think they're immediately. They might be too cheap. But the problem is that the delivery for a ground pounding unit in this army that almost has to play hyper aggressive is a little bit tough. But if we can start the peace trade with Noise Marines and with the Infractor squads and stuff, and then the Flawless Blades can come in around 3 or 4, I'm probably in a good spot. The feeling when lethals do nothing? Well, that's why they have sustains, dude. That's the new thing. That's the cool thing about them. Sustained hits, my guy. You get to choose. That's the other cool thing about the Infractor unit, and it makes me wish there was a reroll outlet on this attachment, which is probably would have been broken, so it's probably good that there's not one. But the Infractors have, with the Lord Exalted attached, have baked in lethal hits, so they get lethal sustain. So the actual amount of damage that they put into like light infantry is kind of insane when you start to consider it. It's good stuff. Plus, you randomly spike up with the Lord Exultants too. If Distortion comes in and rolls like 2 or 3 6s on his attack roll, you're in for a really bad time. Those are lethal sustain, probably ruling wound rolls, like winning on 4s, 3 damage apiece. It's crazy. It gets so scary. Potentially up to AP4. It's a real problem. It's a real army, chat. I'm interested to see what Emperor's Children look like next week though. Because I mean, the scuttlebutt is that they're going to get turbo nerfed. I hope they don't, because I think they've fallen off quite a bit. And I think it has been showcased that they are an extremely good, if high skill cap and certainly defeatable army. I think we probably need to upcost the winged demon princes almost certainly, and maybe the noise marines too. But the other stuff, I don't know, feels okay. You probably up the points value of these armies like 60 points or something, and you're probably in a pretty okay spot. So that is the Alpine Cup Casale teams, Casale, I don't know. Teams event. We also want to talk a little bit about Bug Eater. Coming off of their result at NTL, Here Be Monstars saw some play. This is another 5-player team event. It looks like they were pretty dominant in the final scores here. 5-0 with some pretty big wins. 80-20, 94-6. Jesus. 79-21, 68-32, and a 76-24. Not super close games here. They're kind of just killing people all day. But it's kind of we watch a lot of these players doing well over at the NTL finals at DreamHack when I was live streaming them. So we live streamed Kyle McCord. I got at least one of his games on stream on the Patreon channel playing Dark Angels. Man, fucking loves his Dark Angels. We'll talk about his list for sure. Chris Adams on Death Guard. Cody Jiru playing Drukhari. We always love to talk about his list because he always plays weird Reaper's Wager stuff, which is cool. Jack Harpster showcasing World Eaters even more. Tucker Rickey, who I believe is in the Discord running around over there, rocking Genestealer cults. I think we should start with World Eaters. If you want to see a bunch of World Eater stuff, we talked about Jack Harpster's list quite a bit on the DreamHack stream, and the man does not know how to chill with with World Eaters. It looks. I wonder what his final result was. Can we see? 20. This dude knows melee better than anyone. It's crazy. 20. We're 3 for 3 so far on 20 O's. Can we do it again? We have to find them. 20. 4 for 4. Can we go all 5? Big question of the day. Look at that. Perfect 100 chat. 5 rounds, 5 20-0s. The perfect Hunsky. Incredible. No wonder these guys won. That's crazy. Woo. Let's go. Oh, yeah, of course, player placing. Yeah. I don't know why I was wearing. Yeah, he's in the top. Duh. That's fair. I forgot that was a thing. I never look at player placing for team events because it feels kind of unnecessary, but it obviously makes sense here. So let's talk about that list. I already opened it, but we're going to open it again, I guess. So also running Berzerker Warband. This one's running Master of Executions. I do think that these guys are underplayed. I'm almost to the point that I wonder if it's worth taking them by themselves because they're 65 points. If you're not a character, they aren't that exciting, but their output is impressive, even just for their points value, and you get a little independent character for 65, which is great. especially with like the enhanced movement that Khorne Berserkers have, or that the Khorne infantry have. So he can be like basically a little utility guy, but also he swings with a bunch of full rerolling attacks if you need him to. So you can like run him as a little nuclear missile. The Slaughterbound I also think is good in that case as well, which is sweet. So in this case we're playing a Slaughterbound with Favorite of Khorne, so we get rerolls on our Blessings of Khorne. Berserker Glaive on the Master of Executions for the extra damage, damage. Demon Prince of Khorne with Helm of Brazen Ire, which feels like kind of an auto-include for Berserker Warband detachments. And then we have Kharn, double Khorne Berserkers, so we are probably attaching the Mo. He does give you rerolls on advanced rolls, which is particularly good in this detachment because you can advance and charge. So that's strong. And then Kharn obviously in there just because he's crazy good. I was rebuilding my Kharn data sheet last night to put him in the video this morning, and I realized that they straight up just improved every number on his melee attack. He used to be like 6 attacks, strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage, and now I think this is right. Now he's 7 attacks, strength 7, AP 2, 3 damage. I was like, what? They just pumped all the numbers up by 1. It's for an 85-point character. It's crazy. Almost feel like you should just always take Kharn. I'm not sure if that's 100% the case, but like he's just so useful as an independent unit that even without Berserker Warband and without the Khorne Berserkers in the list, it feels like you almost just take him anyway. He's just such a strong little piece. Thank you for the follow over on Twitch, by the way. We're going to be live on Twitch later. I think I'm going to do Zangor's. I think we're going to try to get a Zangor game in over on Twitchies after the stream finishes. So if you're interested in more, we're going to play new mission stuff because I'm interested in new mission stuff, and we're going to play some meme lists. So if you are interested in that, come hang out with me. We got double Chaos Rhino, double Chaos Spawn, triple 8-bound, double Forge Fiends, 1 Jackal Squad. So no Exalted 8-bound to this one whatsoever. We just cut them entirely for the additional Berserker unit, which does have more synergy with the detachment. And I think people are sleeping on the Khorne Berserkers, to be perfectly honest. If you're playing Berserker Warband, I don't feel that they're particularly strong in other detachments, but they attack so many times that the detachment ability goes quite a long way. And I think that the auto 8 Blood Surge has some ridiculous implications. We did a really cool thing in last week, actually. Scarbrand was going to charge my army. I got shot. A Khorne Berserker unit got shot. I was able to assign saving throws to casualties so that Scarbrand became the closest thing, and then auto 8 the Blood Surge move, and they engaged Scarbrand. They get to swing first. I think they did like 2 damage, but it meant that he couldn't get to an objective. He couldn't charge, and then I was able to kill him the next turn. So it's like a really strong ability, and also having high OC advance and charge units is a big deal too. I wonder also if there's like a universe where you take the Juggernaut Lord guys. I wish that the Juggernaut dudes were better for the move 10 Khorne Berserkers. The problem is that the Juggernaut himself is like 1 billion AP 1 attacks. He's basically like another 2 Khorne Berserkers, basically, which is not really what you want in your attached character. He's 2 damage instead of 1, but I wish he was a base AP 2. I think he'd be a lot more palatable. This is part of the problem there. He only gained +1 strength? Did he? Let me look, chat. I'll verify. I think I had to add a bunch, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. I should have the 2 data sheets backed up here. Where are the leaders? Oh, he did only gain +1 strength. You're right, chat. He did only gain +1 strength. I don't know what I'm talking about then. His plasma pistol got worse though. He got nerfed in plasma pistol. So this is OG Kharn. But his plasma pistol turned into a regular plasma pistol. It used to always just be overcharged, and now it's a regular plasma pistol. I don't know why they did that. It's weird. But yeah, the respawn's crazy strong. The respawn's like such a big deal. Versus the fight on death. The fight on death on individual characters feels like such a meme ability. I don't really understand why they print it. It's so, especially with the ones where you have to roll for it. It's like a one-time roll, and maybe you'll get to fight on death. Like, come on, dude. He's already dead. Like, give me something here. The stand-up end of phase is incredible. I wish it wasn't a 2+ roll. I hate the 2+ rolls. Any ability that triggers on a 2+ should just be automatic. Again, anti-player non-determinism stuff in the 10th edition game design, but maybe we'll see that change in the future. I doubt it. Warhammer loves their lol so random abilities, but yeah, it's so much stronger of an effect than previously. But yeah, strength 7 into T6 is very common. Yeah, it pumps him just to strength 9 in Berzerker Warband, right? So he can actually crack into vehicles really well too. Good call out on the weapon profile though, Jay. I don't know what I was thinking of. I thought he was weaker on the previous, but it was just the strength characteristic. You're right. You right. I think there were some weapon profiles, range weapon profiles to do that. Maybe I don't remember. It was a long night. And then the 3 damage, yeah, is huge too. You love him, chat. I like the idea of him delivering things like blood letters in Khorne Demonkin as well. I think that's a really interesting place to be because he can trigger both his respawn and the summoned by slaughter. At least I believe he can, unless that there's like some corner case in there that I'm not aware of. We did learn something interesting about summoned by slaughter on the Discord the other day. Somebody posted this, and I actually had no idea. And I have definitely stated this other than this, but I guess the core rules say that you're only eligible to charge if you began the charge phase within charge range of something, within 12 inches of an enemy, which means that not only is it impossible for enemies to then heroically intervene or maneuver, like reactive move, inside the charge phase to a new unit and unlock that unit to charge. That doesn't work. That unit's still ineligible to charge, but it also means that you can't summon by slaughter blood letters and then charge them in the charge phase. So you can't like tank shock or impact attack a unit and kill it and then summon, which I actually had no idea. I just literally didn't even notice that rule existed, but it's a good thing to call out. I'll bring up the passage real quick here so we can verify, because it was just people posting screenshots, but it was a good discussion that we had. Yeah, so it's you check eligibility at the start of the charge phase. So if you're within 12 inches of an enemy at the start and you didn't fall back, you're not in engagement range and you're an aircraft unit, then you're good. I think that also means that if a unit is in engagement range of I think if you unengage something during the charge phase, it will still become eligible, right? So you are eligible if you're within 12 inches of one or more enemy units, unless being in engagement range applies. But that would cease to apply at some point if you killed the unit engaging them with like a tank shock and then allowed them to charge. I think that works. But importantly, it means that if you're in reserve, right, you're not within 12 inches of anything at the start of the charge phase. So if you kill something in the charge phase and then summon off of it, it's not eligible to charge. I'm glad I've never done that, but I definitely thought about it because I did not know this rule existed. But it's really good. That's a good call out. Very random. Today noticed that the Helbrute for Chaos Space Marines changed to +2 attacks on weapons instead of twin lights. Yeah. No, we talked about it. We talked about it on the World Eaters live stream. The cool thing is that with the World Eaters Helbrute, I can actually pull up his datasheet too. With the World Eaters Helbrute, he gets... he can take... It doesn't matter if you take 2 of the same melee weapon. So what you can do is take a fist and a hammer. Both weapons get +2 attacks, and then you get to choose your profile. So if you're like, hey, I'm punching Gravis armored dudes or like Terminators, and I'm winning on 2s anyway, it's on their invuln anyway, and all I need is 3 damage, Helbrute Fist. If I'm punching a big tank or something, and the extra AP and the D6 +1 damage is going to be relevant, switch to the hammer. The only downside of doing that is you lose the second underslung gun. So you lose the second like Stormbolter or whatever, which probably doesn't matter. But it gives you so much flexibility over the weapon profile you choose. It's really cool. And we saw that Demonkin list do well 2 weeks ago, I think, with 3 Helbrutes in it. Just because like you can Lance Twin Link them, and then they just go insane, right? They just like bounce around the entire table. It goes crazy. So I think these guys are probably being slept on. I bet that there's a mechanized a World Eaters list in there somewhere that's actually really good, and it hasn't seen play yet. Like red Chaos Knights kind of deal, you know. Yeah, Space Marine 1 is +2 attacks now too. Oh, I don't know anything about that. They changed the data sheet. Huh. That would it hasn't been in a data slate or anything, right? I'm on the website, we can look. That might be one of their weird stealth changes that ends up getting printed later on. I wonder if we will see a bit of a non sequitur, but I do wonder if we will see some updates to Chaos Space Marine profiles, because so many of the concepts in that codex have been reinterpreted by the new Space Marine, by the new Chaos Space Marine, Cult Chaos Space Marine codexes. So I don't know. Let's look at Helbrute. Yeah, there's no changes in the Chaos Space Marine Codex to the Helbrute, and there's no changes in the balance data slate. So that must be an app thing that's not implemented yet in the official rules. By the way, it's annoying when they do that. I understand that it's like probably easier for their pipeline to do the app updates early, but it means that you have multiple different versions of the rules that are all theoretically legal all at the same time, which is just creates confusion. Lance only works on demons in Demonkin? Nope, not the stratagem. There's 2 ways to get Lance in Demonkin. The first one is if you're a demon and you spend 3 blood tithe for demonic rage. The other one is if you have demonic rage active, the other one is that you can Lance into a World Eaters unit from a Blood Legion unit. If you have Lance already active, you gain Twin Linked. So this is a weird stratagem. Oh, I don't have my screen being recorded. I'm sorry, chat. So blood demonic rage is the Lance ability for the detachment. Once you have that, or at any point, you can pay a CP and project Lance to a World Eaters unit from a demon. If that demon already has Lance, the World Eaters unit gains Twin Linked. So that's like the full wombo combo. Is if you can 6-inch pile and consolidate the Helbrute, Lance and Twin Linked it. Because this affects them until the end of the turn, it will work every time they attack. So they go into something, blow it up, 6-inch consolidate to a new unit, get attacked, swing back, blow that up, 6-inch consolidate, get attacked, swing back, blow that up. If you can get them to like sustained hit, 6-inch pile and consolidate from Blessings of Kharn, then they are basically hitting on 2s. So they're swinging 8 attacks with, like, let's say their fist, right? They're wounding essentially everything in game on 2s, maybe 3s if you're like a Dreadnought, but then they'll hit you with the hammer. And then full rerolls. So it's hyper consistent. If you have all those abilities active, obviously it's random whether you get that. But if you can do it early, then you can just ping pong Helbrutes around the table and they can kill insane numbers of things. It's from the Codex? Oh, so they just always had that? Since Index, I guess? Well, then that's not that interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah, I mean, I guess that they just that was an Index thing to get Twin Linked. Well, extra attacks I think is better for these guys, especially if you're swinging big high value attacks. 2 extra attacks is good. Pact Bound Slanesh Hammer Helbrute. Yeah, I can see that. It's okay. Big changes, move, and attack characteristics for Cult Marines. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if we would see some things change. That, like another thing that they did, and maybe it's that Chaos Space Marines have kind of like generic versions of all of their vehicles and stuff. But one thing that we saw is that all the cult vehicles got super specific abilities, and Chaos Space Marines are just like, I'm a normal guy, I'm a normal tank or whatever. It would be interesting to see if they redesigned those to make them different from the Loyalist version. But it could be that just like the quote-unquote like Black Legion, Iron Warriors tanks are just the most basic version. They don't have the retrofitted drum magazine Stormbolters on them like the World Eaters ones do. They just spit a bunch of shots, a million shots everywhere. Leech a lot of flavor out of the villain, especially break into the Legion books. Yeah, that's true. I think that's part of that is because of the detachment system too. I wouldn't blame it all on codexes getting switched around. I think the detachment system replacing sub-factions, where a sub-faction was basically like a whole faction in and of itself. Moving to detachments where you no longer have core stratagems and core effects plus detachment abilities or whatever, sub-faction abilities. Now you have so much less stuff to play with. I think that's where a lot of the flavor ended up going. I think that would be that's the real truth of the thing. Let's talk about this Drukhari list, chat, before we move on. I guess we should talk about Dark Angels too, because Dark Angels are neat. Cody, Jiru, rockin' Reaper's Wager. Triple Beastmaster. This is a teams format if I ever did see one, chat. This list asks you the question, hey man, you have an infiltrator unit? And if you're like, no, I didn't bring them. I didn't think I would. He's like, all right, well, you live in your deployment zone now, I guess. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Triple Beastmaster is crazy. They also get advance and charge thanks to Reaper's Wager too, right? They don't have that baked in. They're just super fast. Yeah, they're just base move 12. But then you can pay a CP to advance and charge them. Gorgeous. They just close the distance super fast. We have an Archon with Webway Walker, so he can deep strike. Cavalry Warrior Squad, Rax, Court of the Archon. So the big Court of the Archon unit with the Cavalry Warriors and the Court to jump in, get full rerolls with shooting. Also melee, pretty good unit, just a million wounds with -1 to be wounded, which is nice. Double Chronos, a grotesque unit, little beat stick guy that can run around. Also fit into a Raider, which is kind of a big deal if we're taking any. Which we might not, I guess. Double Mandrakes for utility, triple Scourges, 1 Hail Fire Blaster, double Dark Lance, double Talos, a Shadow Seer, and a Harlequin Troop. Now, we saw for a while the Shadow Seer running Webway Walker, so he could rapid ingress deep strike. I guess we're just like running him off the side, maybe. But a big benefit there is that with advance and charge, you can close an 18-inch gap really easily. And the Shadow Seer making the troops unshootable outside 18 means that you can rapid ingress into anywhere you want, and there's no way to fight them. So that unit's like really flexible where it ends up going, and that's kind of cool. Not quite as good just on the tabletop because your opponent can obviously maneuver around their 18-inch bubble. But as soon as you can get them into a position where they can close that distance really quickly with an advance and charge, like they go crazy. Demonkin strat is also weird because you have to declare it at the start of the phase. Oh, the Lance strat? That's true. I misplayed that recently, actually. I don't think it mattered, but I did use it on activation. But it, I guess that in some situations that could be useful because you could pile out of range of a Blood Legion unit. You don't have to worry about order of activation in that case. So that's actually kind of a blessing and a curse. You basically know who you're going to lance into Twin Linked at the start of the charge phase anyway. So I don't know how often that matters. And then it lets the units like go do their own thing later on. I guess it also means that you can't like trigger it by summoning Bloodletters during the phase, which is important. Berzerker Warband have a better way of doing this. So they get extra AP on the charge, possible third blessing to enable another keyword on the Helbrute. Yeah, they also like the lance is probably roughly equivalent to. I guess it's not literally equivalent to plus the +1 attack, +2 strength. Like the +2 strength is actually very kind of irrelevant for Helbrutes, but +1 attack is very relevant. And then you can get sustained lethal 6-inch consolidate, so it might be better. I played in the before 4 times. I played triple Mauler Fiend, triple Helbrute, triple Forge Fiend. Certainly, I think the Forge Fiends and the Helbrutes are definitely still playable. Might be worth like switching some stuff to some forward operators and Berserkers or whatever if you're playing Berserker Warband, but I think that list is probably still viable. It's a good call out on the Demon Strat, though. Cool to see some Reaper's Wager. Yeah, I wonder if that does throw a wrench into the pairing process as well. Because I think there's probably a lot of very straightforward defender lists that really struggle with things like these Beastmasters. You can imagine stuff that's kind of like tepid, that has a tough time maneuvering, like Imperial Knights, for example, with a bunch of Armigers. You just, for 3 turns, they're just getting pinged by Scourges, and then move blocked by Beastmasters with no counterplay. There's nothing they can do about it. And that could, if you don't have infiltration available, that could just kill you. Should be Genestealer Cult's also in here as well. Host of Ascension. We actually watched Tucker Rickey play on stream at ATC Tampa, I want to say. We watched him knock down a couple armies with his Host of Ascension. Rocking an Abominant with Our Time Is Nigh. It's a charge bonus at a Deep Strike, is that right? Actually, I've never seen a melee character in Host of Ascension. That's wild. That is, yeah, +2 to charge once per game. Oh, so not out of Deep Strike, but you can't just roll a 7. I guess theoretically. An Acolyte Icon Award, Benefactus, Locust, Primus with Chink, triple Reductive Saboteur for Infiltrate, 1 Auto Pistol, Acolyte unit to farm CP, 1, 2 Hand Flamer units, 20 Neophytes, 20 Neophytes, 20 Neophytes, so 60 total. A Brick of 10 Aberrants, 2 individual Achilles Ridge Runners, double Italian Jackals, double Pure Strange Genestealers. So we're cutting the Ridge Runner like gun platform team, because sometimes we see 2 to 4 Ridge Runners run as lasers. We're cutting those for this big aberrant blob, and I wonder if that's common for Genestealer Cult right now, or it's a concession to team format, because you might need the big like damage sponge in the middle of the table versus having more flighty shooting units. I don't know. That's curious. Main weirdness about Blood Legion Ansat is you can't word the skull mid-turn it to add Twin Linked. Oh, sure, yeah. I feel like most of the time you're lancing, it's the thing that will kill the monster for Worthy Skull, but I don't know. I can count on one hand the number of times I think I've seen Worthy Skull triggered. It's really cool, but it does require a very particular setup when you can do it and then unlock your enhanced abilities. I think Tau will finally be playable. I sure frickin' hope so, man. Tau's been in the doldrums for so long. I really want to see Tau get some love for sure. I don't know what they do. I think they could. They have discussed more common rewrites to mechanics, like mechanical redesigns for things, and I think that I would love to see Tau get it improved for the greater good ability, right? So like allow them to split fire, first of all. That the fact that you can't split fire and that your army ability has like an inherent downside is crazy. Like what if Ultramarines had, an extra die or reroll attacks when attacking their Oath of Moment target, but -1 to hit when they don't attack their Oath of Moment target, right? Like it's wild. That would be a big one. That would certainly help the larger suits and the multi-model units quite a bit. Part of the issue too is that, and this is kind of a conceptual problem that I have with Games Workshop's design philosophy this edition, because they do have this philosophy of like hyper nerfs. In the past, a lot of times what you'd see is occasionally they would rewrite like sub-faction abilities and stuff that were toxic, but yeah, oftentimes they would just like basically nuke things into the sun with points values, which is maybe a less deft hand to take. But one thing I don't like about the current edition is that they will go into mechanics and they'll change them game wide, which makes the game hard to follow. It also makes it hard to speaking personally, a little bias here, but it makes it hard as like a content person to like be able to keep up with, to make content that doesn't go out of style in like 6 months. Because we can talk about what do you need to do to screen out 3-inch deep strikers? Not anymore. None of that stuff is relevant because all the 3-inch deep strikers went to 6, and there's a bunch of weird mechanics in there like that I think have hit Tau. That's one of them. Obviously, they for like 3 months forgot that they had killed the entire detachment ability of the retaliation cadre because they nerfed its 6-inch deep strike or its 3-inch deep strike to a 6 without changing any of the abilities. And stuff like that is like, it kind of, I don't know, it gets my goat. Like if you write a mechanic, stick with it, man. Don't change it every 3 months because you feel like it. Oh. And I think it sounds like there's going to be some changes to like how command point generation and stuff works, and I'm a little worried about that too. I think that could have a similar effect, which I don't super love. Midwest Working, see you next weekend at ATC New York. Yeah, I'm there. I'm heading down Friday morning to get up there to ATC New York. I'm in discussion as well, or not in discussion. I had an event scheduled for the week after, so the second week of June, and that event ended up canceling. So I had a free weekend for the second weekend of June, which is Atlantic City Open. Pull it up on a map, and lo and behold, it's not too far away from me. So I sent an email to Frontline Gaming the other day and was like, "Hey guys, can I come to Atlantic City and stream?" So I would love to go down there and hang out at ACO. Everybody send Frontline Gaming an email. Let me come. Cornwallis, thank you for the channel membership. Appreciate that, man. Heard a rumor that Tau change is one spotter only for the same target. Oh, so you spot one time and then everything shooting it gets the guided bonus? Ooh, that would be really powerful. Much easier to track too. You just go guide here, put a token on that guy. Now we're good. I would actually really like that for sure. Stream the team event. If they want me to. I don't know if y'all want me to stream the team event. I don't know. I don't think that this is like a feeling at all. I think that this is just the general consensus. I don't think that people like team event streams. I think that they actively dislike them. So I am on the sort of on the docket for a bunch of team events. Obviously, we have ATC coming up. We have a bunch of other events coming up. But I'm gonna try to do less team events, I think, in the future, in favor of more singles events. Because I don't know, the voice of the people has spoken. People really don't like team events, so it is what it is. Team streams are boring. Yeah. I mean, I've run polls with you guys. I mean, just looking at the viewership numbers, I know War Games Lives run polls. I had a discussion with him at Battle to End Alzheimer's. We had a whole talk about it. And it's just the fact that nobody likes team streams. So, like, obviously, if I'm obligated to do a team stream, I'm still going to do it. But I'm going to try to get more singles events on the docket versus team streams. But we'll see. Singles feel like they have a bit more tension. Yeah, I think that's the case. Like, our stream at Richmond Open is really cool, right? Like, it was like such a crazy outcome, and it was cool to watch the story on all the top table games. Team events is like, I don't know. There's more like lore, right, to each team, and then occasionally, I don't want to. I will say I don't think that the DreamHack event was quite as competitive as it was last year, or I guess it was relatively one-sided last year, but the individual games were very close. But this year was like Art of War just doing murders on people, and I think they're just more they're better at the team process, right? And nobody else can really compete with them. And until, like, I don't know, we like put together some sort of stat check union or something to defeat them, but that did create a very, very one-sided NTL finals, which at DreamHack, which was very unfortunate. So it is what it is. I mean, we saw, like, you know, they were literally like grudge matching each other in the final round because the result didn't matter. Art of War had already won, which is not great. Team events are the only ones with interesting lists. That might be the case. They definitely are less cookie cutter, or at least they have like interesting like pieces of technology. You also see people playing like non-standard stuff, like the number of, you know, how many double Vindicator, triple Ballistic Dreadnought, Ultramarine, or, you know, are we going to watch at a singles event? I don't know. But at Art of War with the triple nerf hammer, yeah. Yeah. I mean, good on them, right? Like they're killing it right now when it comes to team format stuff. But it does make the competition not look very good. But anyway, that's my soapbox. So if they ask me to stream the team event, I'll do it. But I would prefer to stream the singles event if I can. But I haven't heard back from them yet. So everybody email Frontline Gaming and tell them, hey, get respond to TacticalTortoise email. Should we talk about some Manchester Super Major real quick here, chat? This was won by Ted Warlord Sorcerers. Okay. We'll go to the roster. Running Orcs, Adeptus Astartes, Chaos Space Marines. Hey.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. I'm locking in my final guess for the new Tyranid detachment. The Ripper detachment. Ripper's a battle line and OC6 siege. Unit size is also tripled.
Oh, a Ripper Swarm detachment would be good. One of those detachments with like a subsection keyword ability that's like Ripper Swarms or Battle Line OC1. Could you imagine, dude? You just take 6 individual Ripper Swarms. You're like, I got my utility taken care of, or whatever. What's 6 Ripper Swarms? Like 150 points or something? 120 points? I don't remember. You just have 6 individual Deep Strikers. That's what they used to be in 9th edition. They were crazy strong. But they were then reduced to OC0, which was sad. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think the scuttlebutt is that it's like Ravener focused, right? Which should be neat. OC6 each. And you can take up to like 18 of them in a unit or whatever. You just fill the board. You take your 1 Venomthrope unit and your 1 Pyrovore, and then trail Ripper Swarms to every objective, and then call it a day. And then there's a strat for Rippers to get +2 movement and advance and charge. There's a strat for Rippers to go through walls. And there is an enhancement that makes Hive Tyrants lone operative when they're within 3 inches of a Ripper unit. So you can have a Hive Tyrant hide in the middle and give everyone free strats. And then there's a strat for full rerolls to hit and lethal hits. Or do they already have lethal hits? I have no idea what their new sheet looks like. Besides that, they have that like terrible half OC ability. Oh yeah, there is the new Ravener kill team. Is that out yet? What is the release date on that? It was announced 2 months ago. Called breakfast. You get to ally GSC? Hell yeah. I mean, that's final day, right? I guess it would be cool to do a Tyranid Big Bug plus GSC infantry detachment. No answers on the kill team release date on the release date for kill team guys for the Revenant kill team. Wild. All units get loaded up within 3 inches of a Ripper Swarm. Hell yeah. Let's go. The Typhon Raveners is the name. Wonder what those guys do, chat. You think it's a really convoluted unit like Gonskos or something? You have to keep track of each individual one? Or do you think they're just like super badass Raveners? Maybe they 6-inch Deep Strike and Charge and are like Strength 6 AP2 Twin Links. Go. And then go into they have the Warp Channel ability. They go into the reserve after they kill something. Just super broken. They do look good, chat. Look at these fucking guys. They're so chonky. They're big chonky boys. Neat. Super neat. Also, new servitors. Let's go. Remember Symbiotic Rippers from 9th edition? I don't remember that. I remember the Parasite of Mortrax, but that wasn't like a special or anything. It just did that. Speaking of Tau Empire, Manchester teams, super major 6-player teams. Oh no, excuse me, 5-player teams. I just miscounted. 5-player teams, but it had Tau on it. Speaking of Tau, so we get some glorious Tau action. Should we talk about that? We just talked about Tau for a moment. It is a Mont'ka, so early game, lethal hits. Cadre Fireblade with coordinated exploitation. Shady Lady, an Enforcer Battlesuit. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. The Fire City with Strategic Conqueror. I don't know what that does. Select an objective marker on the battlefield. At the start of the first battle round, Tau Empire models gain +1 OC within range of it. It's only 15 points. Actually, an amazing enhancement. Is that common? I feel like I never see that. It's like the coordinated one to give sustained hits, and then strike swiftly to do the scowl like super push. It does require the bear to be on the battlefield, but if you're a fire site team, you just like he screens the back line and does actions or whatever. He's just chilling. But then like you put it on your whatever, the center objective, and then it's really easy for you to take it bottom 5. So you're really good at doing damage early and setting the line of engagement forward, and then you can just take the objective later. That's good. Recruit Warshaper. Breach your team. A Warshaper. Do we have Kroot in the list, or are we just playing? There are Kroot. He's not just a little utility man. A Warshaper? So he gives stratagem cost reduction, and he can unbattle shock Kroot units. He's also infiltrate and scout 7. I feel like you take this guy because he's like an incredible forward operator. So he has both deployment special abilities, infiltrate and scout, because the idea is that he can swap what he attaches to between Farstalkers and regular Kroot carnivores. But you don't have to attach him. He could just like hang out. There's like an auto include too. Maybe. I just haven't seen it. I think maybe it's just because like there aren't that many characters you take it with. I don't know. I guess like ethereals, but we have Shady Lady. Oh, fuck. I'm so tired, by the way. Oh, I took a big walk this morning. I met a friend for lunch and I took a huge walk. I walked 2 miles. Double broadside battle suits. Triple hammerhead gunships. So we have the little Shadow Sutton brick in the back to give them rerolls. Crew carnivores, double crew hounds, crew tox riders for utility, Pathfinder teams times 3 piranhas stealth battle suits. So a lot of pushing, a lot of infiltrate scout energy to push people away. Might be that the Warshaper's just in there to open up real estate for the other infiltrators to drop in. I could see that. I don't know if there's any stratagems we would really particularly want to discount on that guy. Sounds like I've been reviewing a Gladius list. Yeah. It was funny because like I finished recording. I recorded that at about 3 a.m. that section in the video this morning. And I finished recording and I was like, okay, we're done. And then I was like, oh, I remembered there was an event I hadn't included because it was still ongoing when I had started recording. So I was like, oh, okay. I finished editing and I was like, let's go back and look at it. And it was one of my fucking Gladius Ultramarines. I was like, God damn it. Of course, we couldn't escape one video without this fucking list. the stupid double character Ultramarine list. So we're rocking it's missile broadsides, which I think is an important thing to note. Right? Because it's high yield missile pods, missile drones, twin SMS. The big benefit there is that we can use the strat in Mont'ka to improve, like we get ignore cover from marker lights, right? It's mass AP 1. So the high yield missile pods are twin linked 6 shots, 7-1-2. But you can use this stratagem when you target a unit with 2 units to get +1 AP. So they go to 7-2-2 ignore cover, twin linked. And you just like mass shoot people. So 2 broadside battle suits, right, is what we're playing. Is 12 of those shots plus 2 twin SMS, which goes to 8 shots, 5-1-1 twin linked ignore cover. Plus 2 missile drones, which is another. I don't know. I think it's 7-1-2, right? Or does it have a lower? It's a lower ballistic skill, right? It's a 5-up ballistic skill rather than a 4. It's not on the. It's not on the data sheet for whatever reason. Yeah, this is I was referencing 39K. This is 39K at its finest, chat. This I like this website because it loads quickly, so it's easy to reference rules on. But man, is it useless sometimes. When it's not like forgetting to add keywords to things or whatever. Poopy. So missile drone is 2 shots, 5-up, 7-1-2. So it goes to 7-2-2 hits on 4s because of the guidance. Ignore cover. It's a lot of DACA, chat. That's pretty cool. Join the Patreon, wrapped up RTD this weekend. Wondering if the Patreon provides any one-on-ones for your Discord. No, I don't do that anymore. I did years and years ago, but I couldn't really like. I couldn't devote the appropriate time, I think, to each individual person. But there is a Patreon channel that I'm in all the time. So if you have any questions or like are looking for advice or stuff, that you can go in there. And for the most part, that's all of the people in the Patreon channel are all the high the people who are like highly enfranchised into T5S2. So that's a pretty good selection of the best players in the server. If I can't answer a question, that's there. But I don't do like coaching or anything right now. I just don't have the time, unfortunately. I wish I did. So if you are if you're on the Patreon and you've linked your Patreon to your Discord, I'll post a link. You should have the access to the. Here you go. You should have access to a channel called Tortoise Talk. That's locked for non-patron members. And we talk about all sorts of fun stuff in there. It's a lot of cat pictures, but, you know, it's a pretty good place to be. Know a few people from your area that got hands on an entire box of the new drop pods. Okay. Are they just worse than the old drop pods? Why would you even want them? Just reuse the old ones. They can fold up. Let's take another peek at the remainder of these teams lists chat. And then if we have anything else that we want to dive into. Look at this fucking list. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Wow, Gladius Task Force Ultramarines. Incredible. What a time to be alive. You're so creative. Everybody's so creative. Another Peerless Bladesman. Ooh, Matthew McCurdy playing some real spice over here with Emperor's Children. This is cool. So I think, again, for a lot of the reasons that we just discussed, like Peerless Bladesman doesn't have the same matchup issues that Coterie of the Conceited hit can have. So rocking it in teams here, running double the Winged Demon Prince, Blinding Speed Lord Exultant, so he's got fight first. Distortion, Rise to the Challenge. So that's the only fight again, still remaining in 40k after late 8th, early 9th, almost literally every faction had a fight against strat. Now it's only Emperor's Children. It's usable, I believe, if you are engaging 3 or more enemy models at the end of the fight phase, you can use the enhancement once per battle, and then you fight a second time. Because you can 6-inch consolidate in this detachment, there are some situations where you can set it up to occur, and you can ensure that you'll get the double fight. It's a little bit awkward, but it can happen. It requires a lot of setup, but then getting another swing out of a Lord Exultant on his go turn is like crazy strong. We get double Lord Cacophonous plus Lucius the Eternal, 10 Infractors. So this is real primary objective control right here is what we're trying to do. I also wonder if it's 10 Infractors, 2 units of Tormentors. One thing that we could potentially do is attach the Blinding Speed Lord Exultant to a Tormentor unit, because the Lord Exultant gains whatever deployment abilities the attached unit has. So he gains, it's a special ability that he has. He gains Infiltrate when he attaches to Tormentor squads. You never see it done because he's so much better in Infractor squads. But that allows him to infiltrate, and you can actually have a fight first infiltrator, like right up in the center of the table, ready to like go stab a utility unit. It's actually really clever. The 10 Infractors here are interesting because they give you a lot of combat movement. You get a lot of weird slingshots out of a 10-man unit. Plus the 6-inch Consolidate makes them really good at taking objectives, so it's good primary objective control. Double Rhinos to carry them around, triple Noise Marines. This list is weird, dude. It's weird in a cool way, though. I kind of like it. I think that's neat. The Death Company detachment has one? Oh, shit, does it? Hot damn. What's the name of that detachment? It's Lost Brethren? Oh, yeah. It's the same ability. That's so funny. I had no idea. I've never seen this detachment. That's crazy. What? I've never seen this detachment on the table. It's insane. This is the one where you can take like, okay. You can take like detonating fucking YP. Death Company captains, right? Which is 1 million Death Company captains.
Ryan G
Whoa!
donated $10 through Super Chat. One more thing. I believe Trevy would fall to Chaos and become a noise marine in 40k. He succumbed to Slunch after being tempted by being offered audio of 1 million cats purring. Hashtag noise marine fall.
That would be what I kill people with for sure. In Star Wars, it's like a bunch of burning children. For me, it's just cats purring, like amped up to 1 trillion decibels and kills people. Man, being a Blastmaster guy would be so cool. I played a game with them recently where I had a Blastmaster, 2 Blastmasters kill an entire unit of Imperial Guardsmen. It's like 20 Guardsmen. I was like, holy shit. And all the times that I made fun of Noise Marines fell by the wayside. I forgot about those. You know, but, they've showed me their true power. It's crazy. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm listening to cats purring, but then I'm piping that through my gun. That's what I'm killing people with. That's how I'm doing the sonic blasts. Right, Inky? Oh, she's gone. She was sleeping on the floor a second ago. All right, what else we get to talk about over here? Yeah, Space Marines. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Ryan. I appreciate that, buddy. Big ups. Build a noise marine brick and character with 1 Trigon. Oh yeah, they don't live. They're just 2 wound. Like they're 1 toughness higher than a tactical marine. Otherwise, their defensive stats are identical. It's so funny because you look at them and you're like, oh shit, Terminators. Nah, dude. They're just T5 Space Marines. And so they vaporize instantly. It's a chaos cult over here from Joshua P. We are skewing hard today. This is crazy. This is like all forward operators, a bunch of big like 6-inch consolidating tormentor units. I wonder what this orc list is. Green Tide? Warhorde, okay. It is Warhorde with a bunch of boys. Look at that. Gorgeous. That's kind of normal stuff. That's a little bit more normal. Somebody's got to get the big W's with a regular list. Dark Commune with Warped Foresight. That's a scout, right? Gives you your scout back if you are a man of foresight. Oh, hello. Grab my reference here. It's been a long time since we talked about Chaos Cult. That is 6-inch scout. Ooh, eat your heart out. You should give your soul to Bellicor so you can get a 9-inch scout. You silly goober. Cultist Mob, Trader Guardsman ×3, Chaos Rhino, carry him around, a Curse Cultist ×3, Predator Destructors, Warp Talons. 6 Nurglings! So we get a big infiltrate unit so we can block out the middle of the table and then scout with the Curse Cultists. That's cute. A little tiny baby Warp Talon unit just to clear people out. That's good for like following up against after the Destructors too. Kills movement, like screens and movement blockers and stuff. Just 1 million units, though. Can run in and score 1 million points. Seems good. Covering Tactical Rock's Battle for Glory tournament. That was like a smaller one, right? I don't usually cover sub 20 player events. So if it's lower than 20, I don't usually put it on the docket. Right now we're talking about team stuff because we had 1 trillion team events this weekend. So, and then we got more team events coming up, even, which is cool. I can talk about that. I think that's basically all of the stuff that I wanted to cover, though. Today was the team stuff. We could dive into that event if we wanted to. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna hop over on Twitch and play a game. If anybody wants to come with me. So if we have more stuff that we wanna dive into, I can do that. But otherwise, I'll be happy to rock some Zangors, dude. Is there a faction with no play in teams? Ooh, that's a really good question. No play at all? I don't think so. I don't think anything has literally no play. I think that there are factions with less play. Maybe Imperial Agents. Like, Imperial agents can do. Black Zombie, thank you for the resub to the membership. Appreciate that, bud. Imperial agents can does the thing that other factions do, but like slightly worse, I guess. Like they can do like weird transport and like infiltrator skews, but like you could just do that in other factions, and then it like steals all the agents from other factions too. So I would say probably Imperial agents, but it's not like a good team couldn't make them work. Ironically, Chaos Demons are really good in teams, but they're also very bad in like the team format because they steal all of your demon allies from everyone else. So that one can create some weird, not from cult legions anymore, but they do steal allies from Chaos Knights and Chaos Space Marines, which does get a little bit funny. And Imperial Agents does the same thing for all of the Imperium factions. As soon as you take them as a faction, nobody can take assassins or anything anymore, which does get a little bit funny. But yeah, I think all of the other factions have at least something to. Adeptus Titanicus. There you go. How's that? Don't play them. Even if you could, don't do it. It's not worth it. Did Zangor's going rhinos? How is the price for 6 Bogos not a typo? No reason not to always take 6. Well, it's just they're like 13. You get like a 3-point discount for taking the extra 6 because they're not a little baby utility unit anymore. Jam wants to look at some X1 Aeldari. Agents can at least do the body spam thing. Worse than other factions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like you could play agents, but you could also just play Adeptus Mechanicus, like and like play Skitari Hunter cohort, and then just scam people with 1 trillion dudes. Or you could play Astra Militarum with like Recon Element, or you could play, a bunch of other factions that do like basically the same stuff. And you're taking allies from them, and you're doing it like more jankily than they are. So like, it's not like you can't, get any differential points out of them. It's not like they're literally going to lose you the entire event, but it's harder than doing it with a different faction. But the benefit is that you could do it multiple times, so that might be worth it. So we went to look at some X1 Aeldari. Route 66 Summer GT had a 5-1 Aeldari. Cam Hawkins lost in round 4 with an Aspect host. Oh, this is a list after my own heart, chat. Azurin, Barry, Fuegan, and Spider Lady. With a Wave Serpent, Dire Avengers, times 5. Do we have a Falcon? Is there a Falcon? Are we wombo comboing out? No, we're just playing regular games. There's 10 Swooping Hawks. Okay. For the Behareth like combo. Dire Avengers for Barry. Oh, there's a Falcon. Fuck, it's right next to where my eyeballs were. So we do have the Barry wombo combo. The full Barry bash over there with 3 rolls, devastating wounds, aspect shrine tokens, blam, blam, blam. Let's go. Wham, blam, thank you, ma'am. Fire Dragons times 10 for Fuegan. Double times 5 for trading. Triple Howling Banshees. No Jane Czar and no Autarchs. So they're just disruptor pieces. Vipers for the cover strip. That helps it helps a little bit, I guess, the Fire Dragons, but it also helps a lot the Shuriken guns because they're low AP. Warlock Skyrunners times 3 for utility. Warp Spiders times 5. This list rules. This is like quintessential Aeldari to me. So we have triple Warlock Skyrunners. They don't have anything to attach to. They're just going to run around and do actions because they're hyper cheap. We have a Warp Spider unit that can disrupt. Swooping Hawks can do their grenade drop thing, right? So they're a mortal wound source, plus they're a good utility piece, plus they're obnoxious. That's being supported by Viper. And then we just have like basically Fire Dragon delivering, or Wave Serpent, delivering 10 Fire Dragons. So that's going to kill essentially anything ever. Plus we have a Falcon that can nuke one time something with the Azurman drop too. Oh, and I guess you could pin people with Lycus in the Wave Serpent unit, or in the Warp Spiders unit as well. That's a lot of fire dragons. Hot damn is right. Ayo, let's go. Yeah, I mean, fire dragons are good, right? You heard it here first. And it could be a meta thing too, right? Like we're seeing... Oh, is that Aspect Aeldari stuff like good? It kills Death Guard fucking hyper dead, right? Oh, I guess blow drones are 10 wounds, right? So they dodge like the Asertman Wombo turn and just like plowing 3 sets of mortals into them and killing them. But all these little units are probably good enough to knock down all the light vehicles. And so if you're worried about Death Guard, that's like kind of a big deal. Howling Banshees are sort of a nightmare for Emperor's Children because they don't have a way to deal with fights first. It kind of makes sense to me, chats. That's a cool fucking list. You'll have to see it. There's no way Death Guard don't get touched in the next slate. Yeah, I think the only question is whether or not it's this slate or next slate. They certainly will get touched. Like it's their I don't know what the win rate is right now, but their level of event wins is like untenable. They're basically this week. This week they had almost as many undefeated results as the rest of the table combined, right? There were out of my numbers, there was like 15 undefeated results and 6 of them were Death Guard, or 5, I guess. So 30% of the field is on Death Guard undefeated. It's crazy. That's too dominant. Is wild. Not enough data. Yeah, you could see it coming a mile away too, right? It was like when they dropped the codex, it was like this all has to go up, right? And they were like, no, same points. And you're like, brother, you gave every unit full hit and wound rerolls, bro. You can't be doing that, my guy. It was just crazy. And they're like the rumors too were like, oh, Death Guard are going to be like Custodes elite now, like 50-point Terminators. And we're all like, oh, okay, that tracks. And they're like, nah, fuck it. 35-point like Death Shroud Terminators. You're like, bro, yeah, no. So yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, it did not come out of nowhere, which is the funny thing too. We'll make the Helbrute 115, yeah, for sure. Don't forget the real number of shots. Yeah, we'll generous gifts a couple times too. Finished Slash Detachment pretty well. Yeah, it was a couple weeks though, at least, right? I don't remember what the timeline was, but I don't think it was like instantaneous. And that had less meta representation than Death Guard did. In fairness, that was a single detachment. It was much easier to hit. Although Slash is fucking paying for the sins of Legion of Excess. Oh my god, they're paying for the excesses of Legion of Excess. Hey, but yeah, they fucking suck. Yuck, yucky. Yeah, I hope they change it though. It does feel like the meta's really stale right now, and I think we do need a big change, a big shakeup. Could knock Ultramarines down a peg potentially. Like that's getting boring. Death Guard definitely need looking at. Would love to see some buffs for World Eaters maybe, but I don't know if they necessarily need them. They feel totally fine, just not like flashy. Well, and we'll see how Thousand Suns and Space Wolves fit into things too, because that'll shake things up. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good week. Also, the new missions I think are going to be cool. I reserve the right to be super disappointed in 2 weeks when we find out the Challenger missions are actually the dumbest thing ever. But I don't know. I'm ready. Hopefully it won't be like that. I'm going to vomit on the table next time you see Ultramarines. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's like the frustrating thing about it is that like the tank list, like the ballistas, first of all, ballistas dreadnoughts should not be 140 points. It's crazy. their stats are just like so torqued. But like the tank list is so straightforwardly powerful, but the faction could play anything in their codex and be good. But everyone chooses to play the same list because it's like it's easy, and it's just so boring and banal. Oh, I want to win events. Like, all right, I mean, we get it. It's a good list, sure, but you could play like Ultramarines can make any data sheet work well, and we're just gonna play Vindicators and Ballistas. Like, okay. Anyway, chat. Look what I gotta deal with over here. Look at this little such and such. What? Just looking right at the camera. You know what you are doing. She wants a belly rub right now. Should we indulge? A belly rub? Meow. Anyway, chat, I think that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna go and play a game. I'm gonna be live over on Twitch in a couple minutes. I'll go refresh my drink and yeah, we're gonna go play some Zangors, I think, on the new missions. So thanks for hanging out. A little bit of a low key Monday mayhem. Be back for Tactical Tuesday tomorrow morning. We have some news to talk about. We'll talk about that. Otherwise, we'll dive into some lists and things, maybe from these smaller events that we haven't talked about yet. So yeah, I'll see you all in a bit. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Thanks for the super chats, especially Ryan over there with the big super chats and everyone who joined channel membership today. I will see you tomorrow, and I will also see you this weekend. Don't forget to hit notify on the New York ATC stream, because I'm gonna be driving a bunch of time for that one. So let's go. Cheers, everyone. Keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming, and I will see you in like 15 minutes. Goodbye.